So on this segment, we can never stop discussing parenting as it is dearer to our hearts as women. So join us on the show to continue the conversation with Obi Cubana and also the intricacies of raising children both locally and internationally is Dr. Pamela Udoka. She is a licensed clinical psychologist and also a relationship and marital therapist. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. What an honor.
Yes, we love women that come in pink hair.
I'm sure we are not many. Thank you so much.
There aren't a lot of you, but we're great to have you here.
Thank you.
So before you came in, we're discussing Obi Cubana, the fact that we didn't even know he had an adopted son. Nobody knew. And maybe the child is not even adopted. We don't even know, because these are all people based on responses from the bloggers. So a young boy who allegedly is supposed to be his son came out to follow a trend, a TikTok trend that says next of kin. Then his father, Obi Cubana, posted another picture. He didn't say anything. He just posted my next of kin. Now, people began to interpret it in different ways. I started layering all sort of angles to this. Ramatu, let me come to you, your thoughts before I come to our guest.
Okay, so what I just wanted to say is that BC and my sisters here have really said a lot about it. But then, you know, so in BC adoption in Islam.
BC and her sisters, yeah, the two of you.
The two of you are my sisters. Shut up. Okay, so in Islam, actually, you know, adoption is not really allowed like that, even though I don't have full information. But even when you adopt, right, when it comes to sharing of property, there's a way that they are going to share the property to that child. Oh, wow. They're not going to share it the same with the biological children. Whoa. So that way, it's a bit, you know, there won't be any conflict or anything in case of when the father goes and all of that. I think Obi Cubana just came out and said that immediately because of his wealth, number one, and then number two, he didn't say much. All he just said was next of kin.
But let us paint a few scenarios, because we are all looking at this in one way. There's a possibility that you raise a child who maybe not your biological son, and maybe you've started observing some things in how he behaves. And I get this guy is being, maybe there's some kind of behavior that you feel that I need to let this guy understand. I have raised you well. Because for somebody to believe that he's the next of kin, you must have been raised properly, equally, to make you think that I am qualified to be a next of kin. So there was no preferential treatment in the home. You were raised well. Now, maybe it was important for a father to set the record straight, because I treat all of you equal does not mean that you're all totally and completely equal. Yes, you're all equal, but there's a preference for this others, because that's his life. Because that's his life. So I'd like to hear your own view on this part. Do you think it was right for him to say that kind of thing? And next of kin doesn't mean inheritance. It just means somebody who you contact if anything happens to me. That's next of kin. It doesn't mean he's the one that...
The way Nigerians interpret it just means that you're going to inherit.
Let me hear your own thoughts on this.
Interesting. At least, first of all, I now know that Obi Cubana has an adopted son.
We didn't know before.
And then when you say adoption, Nigerians just believe that you have adopted this child and that's the end of it. But psychologically, is that child balanced? Maria said something that maybe the child was raised well at home. Yes, raising well. But with this issue now, that child might not develop identity issues. What am I in this house? Might develop attachment issues. Am I really a part of this family? Do you understand? And of course, there's now a self-esteem issue. How will his friends look at him now? We are not really a Cubana. You understand? We might all think it's a joke, it's social media, but that child, everything boils back now to how that child is managed after this. And then, Obi Cubana is an Igbo man. And next of kin to them might be somebody who inherits his wealth. So that statement is, please, shift, stand well, know your lane. Yes. All animals in my house are equal. But this one is more equal than another. You understand? So it also brings us to the fact.
Let me stay with you on that. Okay. It's because I feel like Nigerians are very hypocritical in our country, and we are two-sided. You see, the truth is that the reality is, yes, you can give your all to somebody. In the West, for example, from the way they are born, you are adopted. We went to Japan to bring you. We were a black family, but we adopted you. Know your stance. You can even, at the age of 21 or 18, say, I want to go and look for my biological parents. But your identity is clear. But in this part of the world, we try to mask it and don't let it not know, because in our own mind, we are protecting the child. But is that not also a fault of the system? I remember growing up, my half-sister, it was a taboo to refer to her as my half-sister. It was as if, no, it's your sister, how can you say that? If you mistakenly say, oh, my half-sister, I'm going to my stepmother's house, it was as if you just said the worst thing.
Yeah.
When I now grew up, she's my half-sister.
And acted.
And we're cool, and it's fine. But nobody raised me with that identity. So we have this false expectation. If you're my half-sister...
On the outside.
So if you're my half-sister, there's certain things my mother would give to me that you might not have privilege of having because you're my half-sister, period. But we try to raise a child like, oh, you're part of the family, your mother should be equal to everybody. It's not that's not reality. That's why I say the hypocrisy in it affects me sometimes.
Okay, can I say something also about adoption, how it is taken and perceived in Nigeria versus how, we see it legally. In Nigeria, sometimes you don't really adopt, which is legal adoption. You bring in someone into your home and you decide to raise that person just like you raise your children. And how do I mean? Raising your children, meaning you provide everything materially for that child. You may not be that emotionally connected to that child. So you can have Nigerian. So with Nigeria, if someone says an adopted child, be careful. It may not be legal adoption. It may not be that I've legally adopted and this person is my blood now, So if that's the case, then I see why he would want to separate it. But separating it still on social media, for me, that was a no-no. I would have even preferred, if he was even trying to join the trend, bring all his children together and now write next of kin. All of them with him.
With S.
And then now discuss the intricacies of the next of kin. Whether you are, properly, you are going to be the one that will inherit or not at home. I like what you said where you said he would now have issues. Self-esteem issues is important. It's such a huge topic, especially for a growing child, that particular age. You have presented yourself amongst your peers as somebody, attached to somebody. And then that person that you have attached yourself
denies you,
comes to the public and denies you. He may not show anything to them physically today, but they have sown a seed.
But that man did not deny him. Let me come to you. He did not deny him. He just put a picture that says next of kin. He didn't. One of tomorrow, he puts a picture of another child and says next of kin.
He didn't carry a placard that said I deny you. But that sentence is denial. Loaded.
Yeah, it's denial.
It's denial. It's very subtle, but it's there. It will affect that child. No matter how we want to glamorize it on social media, it will affect the child. In other words, I'm in this family, but my birth position is blurry. Now I know. So I have to maintain my
It's very short. Let me add. Do you know there are some people who come, they are in your house, they are like your cousins and things like that. And then when they go out, they say, our father's house. Even they already know that they're not your biological. But even when you come out and say, no, this one is not it's my cousin, you already make them feel like, oh, okay, so you don't love me the way that I love you.
That's why I keep saying the hypocrisy. Why don't we break it down? Let people know where you start from the beginning.
And
you accept it.
No, listen, we have a culture here. Most of these things, we are borrowing them. And even though we borrow, we'll still infuse our culture one way or the other. And that's why we sit here every morning to have conversations on how we can become better people. Now we're now listening and hearing that, okay, if I adopt, it's not a bad thing to actually tell this child at a certain age that you were adopted if you want to go through that route, right? But even before you start telling the child you were adopted, your family members who are not privy to all this sort of information or who don't care will always whisper, you are not our blood. Most of these children know already that you are not, I'm not your blood, even before you open your mouth to say it, right? Because their family members watch the dogs who are there, watch you, making sure that our inheritance stays within the confines of our blood. Exactly.
They are mothers.
I'm telling you, mothers, eyeing them. Why are you people playing together like that? You have that space. We have them already. But we're saying that, for me, I believe that when it comes to adoption, right? Because you are taking, depending on the age that you take the child, you are taking this child, a vulnerable child who will look up to you. There was a video I saw yesterday where all these Oyibo people, they will post, when they say the daddy is coming, babies, they will throw away their food, daddy! I sat down and it dropped on me like, the role of a father in every child's life is very pivotal. Now, what is most painful is when the father now becomes the predator. See how these kids will drop everything they have. Daddy! Even with their diaper, they will drop it, daddy! When that person who's supposed to give you that security and that nurture becomes a predator, it damages the child for the rest of the child's life. You know, it just came to me. And I'm saying that you have brought this child in, maybe at 6 months or 2 years, the child knows nobody but you. And why we don't open our mouth to say you are adopted is that it changes something in the child's psyche. Because children are innocent. You play with the other children, assume that we are all the same. This is our daddy. This is my dad. Let me give you a typical example. So when I came to Lagos to stay with my mom and my stepfather, because my parents were separated, I had an altercation with my younger sister, who is my half-sister, in her father's house. I was this one that came, you know. And there was something that man did that made me respect him. We're dragging room. So one of the eldest had married and left the house. So the room was supposed to be the next person according to age, because we're mostly girls in the house. And it was my turn to move into the room. And this, my younger I2 service sister, I'll call her name Bimbo, we're very close now, said no, that she was going to share the room with me. I said no. When the elder sister was here, she had that room. That's like the finest room, girls' room. She had that room to herself. So it's my turn to have that room to myself. I was not this man. The man was sitting in the parlor with my mom when we were having this altercation. He did not say a word. He did not say, oh yeah, it's not your house. It's not your, I had that room. And you know the respect I gave to this man till he died, because he made me feel like you are my child. You are under my roof, you are my child. I'm not saying he should have shared his property to me, but he shouldn't call me out to tell me, I'm not sharing my property to you because I'm not.
Simple as that.
Yes, because I am not your father. He can share the property without anybody's knowledge. When he passes, you just say they did not call your name, and that's fine. But the fact that he allowed me in his house to claim that this is my right, and he allowed it as all of you are going, all of you are children, it gave me a form of confidence and self-esteem. Not to talk of something as big as next of kin.
I get that, and I really hope you can understand where I'm coming from. It's important for us to push this issue of full disclosure. You knew where you stood when that happened. You knew you're coming from outside. No, but you are aware.
Yes. I was a teenager.
You are aware of your position.
Yes.
So a lot of people are raised to think they are part of the family. Before family members tell you, whispering in your ears that you're not our blood.
Wait, I
That's
was aware.
a problem.
Can I add something? I was aware, but I was a teenager. So if I was that aware, I won't do that fight now, because I already know it's not my house. Or what do you think?
The fact that you knew that was not your house. The fact that you knew that you were a visitor. The fact that you knew that man was not your biological father is enough information to work on. Because you were aware of the information, you could now try to demand for your right based
It wasn't
on
my
your
right
age.
as far as I'm concerned.
You are trying to demand for it.
No.
Okay, you know how the fact that nobody said or he didn't say don't go there meant that he too accepted the fact that you were the daughter. If you were intimidated or if you didn't have the information, you would have cowed that, you would have taken over.
Okay, so I
think is you had confidence in the fact that you were seen as a child in the house. Even though you were aware of everything, but you had confidence that I would be treated as my siblings. That was it. The confidence in knowing that you are loved and you are accepted. That was what happened.
But
if you're not
let me
jump in here.
Go ahead, Ramatu.
Okay. Yeah, so I think what I basically think is we adults be prepared. If you know you are going to adopt, you should be fully prepared for it. For example, some years back, I actually wanted to adopt because I had 2 girls. I have 2 girls and a boy, and I felt I wanted another boy to pair up with my son. So I sat down deeply. I went to an orphanage in Kaduna there. I saw the boy, handsome, everything, and I was like, let me go ahead and do this. Discussed with my husband. My husband was like, oh, that's fine if you want to do that. Because I wanted to just give back. You know, I'm so grateful, you know, I was like, let me just do this. At some point, I sat down and, you know, thought deeply inside me, and I was like, look, am I going to treat him fairly? Will I treat them equally with my kids and all? Will they go to the same school as my child and all of that? I asked myself a million times. At the point, I now decided that no, I don't think I'll be able to do it, and I don't want to be in that kind of situation. And I left it.
Interesting. I left. Okay, now let me paint this, and I want us to look at this from a different scenario. Because I'm hearing somebody just send a message that there's a possibility that he didn't officially adopt this child. That his parents had passed on, and he took this child in as his son. Somebody just said that here. His parents died and he took him in. Now, is it possible is it possible? I take you in as my son. I give you everything because and I raise you equally. If I didn't raise you equally, there's no way you have confidence to go on TikTok and call yourself next of king. I must have treated you. I must have treated you just like my other kids.
King of England.
Now I do that. Is there a possibility that I as a parent, I am noticing that this boy is behaving to be overzealous in certain areas, thinking that because he's the oldest, he's somewhat taking advantage of this.
Can I put a spanner in that your analysis? Can I? Let's say you have adopted a child, and as the children are growing, the adopted child is showing behaving better, showing promise. Your own child, because they believe I am the next of kin, I'm the one that is meant to start misbehaving.
That sounds so like Hollywood and Nollywood.
No, that's real life. That's even more real than anything.
That's the expected scenario where this child is supposed to be now the good boy and the one the biological. I'll let you come in here.
Okay.
Usually when we watch movies, the adopted one is the one that is such a good boy. The biological ones are the tyrants. We get that. I'm flipping that. I'm flipping it. I'm saying the adopted one might not be the good one, such that you have to put him in check. That bros. Let me remind you, you're not my name. I'm not saying that's what Obi Cubana is saying. I'm just saying that let us look at it from different perspectives.
No,
different ways
so that's panel. Sorry, that's panel. If you can just, that's panel that I said I put in. How would you, if you're saying to put a check so that this adopted child understands his place, how do you put a check on your child? If you were to be the one that now, the biological child, what would you do?
Yeah. Your own child.
Sorry, ma'am. How would you handle that?
No.
Maybe.
Let me
now I have to go on a break. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I have to come back. I'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this matter. Yes, go ahead. You're going to say something for the break.
Yeah, I said, first of all, how they were brought up at home. Did the boy know he was adopted? Did he know he lost his parents before coming to the house? If he knew that he was adopted, if Obi Cubana had, given that information, or maybe he and his wife had shared information, and the boy knew, there are certain things he will not expect. But if they were all brought up equally, you are all my sons, you are older than this one, you are older than this one. So they will believe that according to their birth positions, these are certain entitlements. Okay? So him going to go and now claim next of kin, and it being corrected. Play. So if he needed to correct it, he would have either played along or go back home and say, remember the information.
Yeah.
But,
so can I just add a little?
Is it possible that, how Bishop always says that Nigerians are wicked people?
Where?
This boy could have put out that thing, and maybe he wasn't even referring to Obi Cubana.
It's possible.
Maybe he's referring to his own parents.
It was just a trend.
There is a trend.
Yeah.
Maybe he was not even referring in any way to the Cubana family.
Yeah.
He's just focusing on, I just found out I'm the next of kin of my dead parents who just maybe bequeathed something to me. We don't know. Yeah. But because of the wickedness of our nature, we have started assuming and extracting also things that shouldn't have played out, because we are the ones destroying that boy, not Obi Cubana.
Oh, hey! Can I ask the question? Yes. When he put questions today, go ahead. When he put that video out on TikTok, all he said was, I'm next of kin.
Yes.
When did we start talking about it?
When
the father replied with the right next of kin.
Yeah.
So who is the wicked person here?
Thank you. Because if he had not responded publicly,
what if he was also doing his own
trend?
TikTok?
No, listen.
Obi Cubana could have been doing his own too.
So why was he dancing?
The trend would have just gone as a normal trend. Different boys, different people will pick up the trend.
Or if he too had come to say he too is next of kin.
Yes. So the thing for me is, you know how young men brag, bragging rights. I'm from so and so family. That's my dad, or that's my this, and that could be what he was just doing with the trend. It may not even mean anything to him. I always tell people, when I tell my children, I say, this house is not your house. You are a visitor here. You will leave and go. You cannot come and collect the house that I worked for and suffered for in the name of inheritance. You will go and build your own, except I am no more. I cannot be here, you are coming to inherit anything. It's not going to work. I am first in line. I tell my children, I say, you are on rent. I will soon kick you. People will soon start paying rent in this house. I will soon kick you out. Yeah, we can't wait to leave you, mommy. We can't even wait to go. This is your house. Please take this your house, I always tell them that. So there's ways that we can check our children from entitlements. When you're constantly demanding for things and you don't feel that you have to put in the work for it, I check you. This thing I'm giving you is a gift, though. There are many people who you are not better than that don't have this opportunity. This opportunity, use it well. There are several ways we can check these children. But when they come, if I see my let's take, for instance, I used to have a help that would post my house on social media and brag. Yes, as a house. She will post my money. Or she will spread the cash, because I always carry notes in my bag. She will spread the cash, post and brag. I did not kill her. I did not go there to post another one that is my money, or it's my house.
Let me make this comment.
I would chastise her at home.
Abigail said this. She said, have you considered how it affected the real next of kin, who is Obi's real son? What if it's just an inside joke? Because Obi responded with a smiling icon.
Okay,
that's another angle.
That's another angle. But based on what you said about, was it communicated to this child that he was adopted? Let's say it was very clear to the child, knowing that I was brought to this house, I am not a biological child, I've just been brought in to be taken care of. Are we saying that a child like that cannot make a joke like that? See, if he had gone to a bank or he had gone to a company and he has signed as next of kin, I feel that this conversation would be different. That is almost fraud. But if someone is doing a TikTok challenge, are we saying that because we know your place in this family, you're not allowed to even play this sort of play? And responding to Abigail, how would he have felt if it's already understood in the house that he's just one of us? You know, he's adopted, or we have brought him in. If that understanding is there, that boy would feel confident in knowing that that's my cousin that likes to play, because he already knows his place. He will not be in any way confused or in competition, because he knows his place. He does not need, see, there's many wealthy people. Their children don't need to come on TV and be telling you, I'm the Dangote's child, I am Otedola's child. They don't need to tell you. They know. In fact, they will allow you, those of you that need to say it, claim it. The day of reckoning, when we are sitting there and reading our father's will, when they are sharing inheritance, we know who will be there. So that person won't have any...
Because we can't only talk about Obi Cubana. We have a Dr. Pamela.
Okay, yes.
So let me take this call. Choma, thanks for calling. You're live. Hello, Choma, you there? Hello, Choma. Okay, I think we lost that call. Let me come to you, Dr. Pamela, because it's important that after we've discussed Cubana and all that, it's still important for us to know how to raise children in this kind of environment. If you adopt a child, how you raise children such that there's this equal emotional balance amongst them. What would you advise parents who are adopted? Because today we have lots of children, people who are really engaged in adoption. What's the best way to raise them? Should we do full disclosure from the beginning, or hide it and never mention it at all?
You see, I always say this. When a child can speak, when a child can understand what you say, I'm talking about developmental stages, tell that child in simple terms what the child needs to understand. Stumbling on documents when you are much older, saying that you are adopted, is devastating. But if the child knows, if the child understands his or her place or the birth situation, even when the child goes out and you say, oh, you are adopted. Oh, I know. My daddy told me or my mom told me. You have prepared that child. You have given that child an internal defense.
To face the world.
Yes, but if you just leave the child to just float around and then maybe they are looking for one document and you just say, adopted in 1991 orphanage. No, now. Yeah. So parents disclose at the appropriate time when the child can understand what you're saying. That does not mean you treat the child less than your other children if God has not blessed you with more. But know that you are adopted, but you are still older than this person, you are still older than this person.
Okay, let's talk about parenting for a second, because we saw you with a pink hair and we're thinking, I think one of the ladies was saying, if our children come in today, our teenage, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, and wants to do a pink hair because, hey, and Dr. Pamela has a pink hair and kids, I mean, we want to be trendy, we want to be modern parents, but at the same time, there's a part of us that say, my daughter was telling me the other day that, Mommy, I want to paint my nails, and I'm thinking to myself, no, 16. Like, no, everybody is not you. I know it's okay, it's not a crime, but for me, I just feel like you should wait till 16, period. And of course, you're squeezing her face, I didn't care, but I'm being seen as, Mara, it's too much now. It's just pink hair. I mean, how do you raise children in this modern...
Okay, first, I'm so glad you brought this up. It gives you so much joy. First of all, I turned 60. The 4th of
February.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
I am 60 years old.
You're living your
So they
life.
would try me.
So,
I'd have never guessed.
so a child who is a teenager or younger than a teenager wanting to do what adults do, it stems also from communication. You discuss with that child. You have not reached the age to take this kind of decision. You cannot do this at this age. The child will ask why. You now explain. It now brings, when we want to talk about parenting proper, I will lay the foundation of parenting styles.
Please,
Tell us. Go ahead, please.
You know,
We're interested.
You're interested. I want to learn. We are all parents here.
Yeah.
I want to.
theoretically, there are parenting styles, internationally accepted, globally
Everywhere.
practiced. Yes. We have the authoritarian parenting style, where you tell the child, you cannot do this and that.
Never.
I'm your mom. I've told you, you cannot tint your hair. You cannot color it pink. Bye.
That's what I did. You can't paint on this period.
Period. That's authoritarian.
It depends on the age, right?
Yeah. No, at any age, you discuss with that child.
Can I give you why I said that? So my stepson, he had finally graduated university, you know, just
Everybody has
now,
step-
yeah. So going off to, you know, just now looking for work and trying to find his way around. Then he comes to visit one day and he had platinum colored hair and everything. The father did not say, oh, yeah. He said, I see you're not hoping to work with anybody. That's all he said. This boy has black hair now and he's a born-again Christian.
I see. I don't.
With anyone.
Yeah,
and that
you
was
want
all
to
he
start
said.
your own
So
business.
he let him, maybe he figured out life where he goes to give CV somewhere. Maybe they say, with this hair, okay, thank you very much, you know. And he's figured himself out. You know,
That's it.
yeah, himself
That
out.
was authoritative. Authoritative. Authoritative means that the child says, I want to do this, or comes up with this, and you discuss. Oh, I'm not saying not do it, but this is the reason why you should not be doing it.
What are the
We
other levels of
discuss.
parenting? That is democratic.
No,
I think this one you're explaining is democratic. Yeah, it's more democratic.
It's authoritative.
Yeah.
Different from authoritarian.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that daddy is coming back, you hear the car horn, everybody
disappears.
We did
Go to your room.
that
Yeah,
too.
we did all that.
We did it.
The TV is on, you switch it off.
Of course.
Okay? Now, the permissive one, he won't say anything about the hair. You come, oh, you want to color your hair green?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You want to pierce your nails?
Anything you want.
You want to come back home at 12 midnight at 13 years?
It's okay.
That's permissive. Okay?
Is that
So
that
the
kind of
best parenting style,
I said, that's not parenting.
yeah, is part of it. Some parents
But
do
some
it.
parents want to be
was
liked.
just-
Yes.
So you,
don't-
because you want to be liked,
Yes.
you then allow, you give them a lot of this, and oh, you have this, and
You have
the
this,
pocket
you have
money,
this.
allow them, you're
You have to
permitting.
give them excess.
Now it's
No
remote
control. No control. You know, you give a child pocket money, you don't have any feedback on how the money is spent. You don't control. That's being permissive. But when you are authoritative, you can discuss with that child.
Democratic.
Yes, democratic, if you will. When the child comes up with any issues, they will feel drawn that if I
have
go
a
and discuss
conversation
with
with
mommy
you, yeah.
or with daddy, they will guide me or they will understand where I'm coming from.
So I had my daughter come to me that she wants to dye her hair. So she's seen my pictures all. I dyed my hair from university, different colors, wine, gold. Even in my wigs, you see, I love colors. And she said she wanted to dye her hair. And I said, you're turning 16 this month and you're finishing secondary school. So wait till you finish secondary school, then get into IB. When you're doing IB, you can color your hair. And I asked, are you coloring everything from top to bottom? She said she would love to. She sent me pictures she wanted. I said, why don't you start from the tip? Yeah. Because you are getting into an industry that I don't know if it's going to be like a serious industry or it's going to be like this creative industry. If it's creative, not a problem. If you are going to focus on maybe all this medicine and all of that, then you can rethink. So we had that conversation. Okay, mommy, I'll start with half of it, the tip. I said, okay, just enjoy it at that time. The nails thing, I found a way to make them look forward to it. So I said, why don't you wait to a certain age? Okay, you know what? Because you like the nails so much, and I'm a colorful person, I do my nails and everything. When we are on long holiday and we're going on vacation, we will all paint our nails. But we know that when we come back, school, seriousness, we take it off. So even my son, the last holiday we had, he tinted his hair gold. Yes, his father took him. He said, because it's holiday, he said, Mom, if I get my grades, if I'm A+ and everything, can I tint my hair? I said, just give me that good result. And that's what happened. He tinted his hair. We traveled. When we came back, going to school, mololo, everything back to normal. In fact, his father wanted to tint his hair. And when he came back home, he had his black hair. I said, you didn't tint again? He said, please, I don't have energy for profiling at the airport. Before they start accusing me of being a Yahoo man at the airport, let me just carry my black hair. My son can see it's not a problem, you know. So we find a way to have those conversations. And I try to post it for them. So you're looking forward to when I get to a certain age, I can now be able to do this. When I get to, you may get to that age and you don't even like it anymore. Yeah. So I allow you, yes, instead of just saying blanket no. Because growing up, when I was told blanket no, I have to do that thing.
ways to do it.
Once I hear no, I have to do that thing. So you don't tell me no, you converse with me.
So I think So I think the conversation is very, very important. Like my daughter, when she came for the Easter break and she was going back to school, she now asked me, Mommy, can I go with my phone? And I sat down because all her friends have their phones with them in school. Oh. I sat down and I was like, how do you? Because they'll just go, they will keep it with the house mistress there in school and all of that. But then I sat down and I was just thinking, I was like, no, but me, I actually said that when she's done with school, that's when she's going to have her phone. And now, at some point, I gave it to her later, and I came back and I said, no, you can't have your phone, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's just remaining how many months? You have just how many months? Finish up. Once you finish up,
your phone is there.
We'll give you your phone. I'll give you your phone, and I will never touch your phone, because usually by 8, you come and drop the phone. But this time around, I'm not going to collect the phone.
You have to bring time has run out of time. You have to bring it back, because this phone matter is a serious matter. Because sometimes I get really scared of what's on social media. I mean, it was my nieces that came recently that told me that I could put some parental control on YouTube, and I didn't know. I was a very foolish parent. The children, I mean, they had their own pages. They had the 10-year-old restrictions. I had that. But they were always on my own page. They don't look at their own 7-year-old. They don't look at that. It's my own page. They always watch it. They're watching some movies. Until she told me, why are they watching Chucky? And I'm wondering, it's my page. I said, no, Chucky's 18+. You should put a code. I said, I can. And they don't put the code for me. I know they shouldn't be on your profile. They're forced to watch. Now I've increased their own profile to, like, you know what? I didn't know that. I was one of those parents that I was somewhat permissive. You know? So we need to bring you back to help us. But let me just let you wrap up. Your own submission. What's the best approach to raise children in this new world?
Dispensation.
The best approach is authoritative parenting.
Not authoritarian.
Authoritarian is different. Authoritarian is different from authoritative. It is like hammer. Authoritarian. I'm the authority here. What I say stands. You don't shift ground. Your children say something, you don't even listen. That's authoritarian. Yes.
Authoritative.
Also affects them when they take these children outside the country.
Yes.
Okay. But when you are practicing authoritative parenting, you, like Boraya said, democracy. Maybe you can now associate it democracy, you know, authoritative. So we can now.
They know you're the authority in the house.
Yes. But you give them opportunities to tell you things. You discuss. You hear their perspective about things.
That's still authoritative.
Yes, authoritative. Authoritarian is not even listen to them.
So then,
I like that.
From democratic.
You know, it's a mixture of it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to associate the words so you can remember the authoritative is one that you discuss and agree. Like before I tinted my head, my children were like, Mommy, go ahead. I had low cut.
So they are democratic children.
Yeah, my husband now said, which color are we doing?
The democratic setting.
Discussed it, okay? Everybody agreed, and this is how I am now.
It suits you, girl.
I had to ask
We have to
permission.
bring you back again.
Oh, that would be an honor. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We had fun.
That's all we can take on today's show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Authoritarian all the way.